Did you know why mega projects have become Africa's strategic bet to accelerate its transformation? Why might these mega projects, scattered across the continent, serve as the true pillars of an integrated, competitive, and globally influential Africa? Indeed, faced with persistent challenges, insufficient infrastructure, limited economic diversification, and developmental delays relative to other regions, Africa is increasingly relying on large-scale ventures to bridge these gaps. Yet, a crucial question remains. Do these mega-projects lay the foundations for a prosperous and sustainable Africa, or are they merely the mirages of an ambition that is too great? Stay with us to explore the ins and outs of this crucial question. Welcome to We Emerge, the best place to get inspired and make a difference. If you haven't subscribed yet, you can do so by clicking the subscribe button. Let's get started. The Abidjan-Lagos corridor is today one of the fastest-growing urban regions in the world. Stretching nearly 1,000 kilometers, it connects the major cities of Lagos, Cotonou and Porto Novo, Lomé, Accra, and Abidjan. This polycentric urban concentration brings together large cities, ports, economic hubs, and border areas. Thanks to its agglomeration effects and direct access to the Atlantic Ocean, it already serves as a key engine and a significant contributor to West Africa's economic output. Moreover, the region is experiencing rapid demographic growth. Its population is projected to reach 50 million by 2035 and could exceed 500 million by the end of the century, making it one of the world's largest urban mega-regions. This dynamism is accompanied by strong economic diversity, which, despite challenges related to borders and infrastructure, represents a unique potential for trade and regional integration. Within this context, the Abidjan-Lagos Highway Development Project stands as one of West Africa's most ambitious infrastructure undertakings. This 6-lane, 1,028-kilometer highway will connect 5 major coastal cities: Abidjan, Accra, Lomé, Cotonou, and Lagos. Its objectives are to facilitate the movement of people and goods, reduce logistics costs, and boost regional trade.
Le projet de corridor Abidjan-Lagos s'inscrit dans cette dynamique et est parfaitement en phase avec les objectifs de la vision 2050 de la CEDEAO. Cette vision concourt à la création d'un environnement favorable à la libre circulation des biens et des personnes. Le corridor Abidjan-Lagos est porteur d'un énorme potentiel. Il draine aujourd'hui près de 75% des activités commerciales de la sous-région.
Nearly 40 million people live along this axis, and 47 million users traverse it annually, all of whom are expected to benefit directly from this strategic project. According to the African Development Bank, the highway will connect an urban population that could reach 173 million by 2050, linking the most dynamic and densely populated metropolises of West Africa, from Abidjan, Takoradi, and Accra to Lomé, Cotonou, Porto Novo, and Lagos. The project aims to stimulate industrialization, attract foreign investment, and transform the corridor into a true engine of regional growth. It also represents the first phase of the ambitious Dakar-Lagos Trans-West African Corridor, a trans-African highway intended to connect West Africa with Central and Eastern Africa, extending from Dakar to Lagos, then Yaoundé, Bangui, Kampala, Nairobi, and Mombasa. With an estimated cost of $15 billion, the project is coordinated by the Economic Community of West African States, with the support of the African Development Bank, the European Union, and member states as part of the Programme for Infrastructure Development in Africa. Construction is scheduled to begin in 2026, with completion expected in 2030, covering 82 kilometers in Nigeria, 520 kilometers in Ghana, 144 kilometers in Côte d'Ivoire, 90 kilometers in Togo, and 127 kilometers in Benin, including 63 interchanges to maximize connectivity. Once completed, this highway will do more than facilitate mobility. It is expected to create approximately 70,000 direct jobs and 160,000 indirect jobs, energize the economy, and promote rural and industrial development along the corridor. However, challenges remain, notably securing full project financing, mitigating environmental and social impacts, and coordinating across multiple countries. As this media notes, although geographically close, the 5 countries remain poorly integrated, separated by colonial legacies, languages, currencies, and diverse cultures. Thus, despite Cotonou being only 120 kilometers from Lagos, the connection between these two hubs is virtually non-existent. Nevertheless, this project is vital for West Africa's future, with the potential to transform the sub-region into one of the most dynamic and competitive economic hubs in the world. Having traversed 1,000 kilometers of asphalt, we now turn to another colossal undertaking, this time in the form of an industrial facility poised to revolutionize the continent's energy sector. Nigeria, Africa's oil giant, yet paradoxically, a country plagued by fuel shortages and electricity outages. Its public refineries operate at a crawl, unable to meet the needs of 230 million people. One man decided to take on this challenge. It all began in 2013, when Aliko Dangote, Africa's richest man, announced a colossal project to build the continent's largest refinery, surpassing Skikda in Algeria, which processes 360,000 barrels per day. A bold, almost impossible gamble. But that was just the beginning. This long-delayed dream finally became a reality in May 2023, when the mega refinery was inaugurated in Lagos in the presence of several African heads of state. Why is this a turning point? Because Nigeria, Africa's leading crude oil producer, paradoxically depended on fuel imports. With this refinery capable of processing 650,000 barrels per day, the country can finally reduce its dependence and secure its energy future. Practically, this means fully supplied petrol stations, less strain on generators, and factories operating without power interruptions. But this project, which began in 2016, goes beyond oil production, covering an area equivalent to nearly 4,000 football fields, 2,600 hectares within the Lekki Free Zone. The refinery resembles a true industrial city. It includes housing for 50,000 employees and their families, a private port, and a 570-megawatt power plant. Turning this dream into reality was no small feat. Massive components had to be moved. A 2,000-ton refining column, the heaviest ever built, traveled kilometers along roads specially reinforced to bear its weight. Every stage, every lift, every installation demanded surgical precision. The impacts are considerable. The Dangote complex will connect to the world's largest subsea gas pipeline, 1,100 kilometers long, and capable of processing 3 billion cubic feet of gas per day. Through this connection, Nigeria could eventually produce nearly 12,000 megawatts of electricity, far exceeding the 10,400 megawatts currently available. For millions of families, this means a more stable daily life without unexpected blackouts, and for factories, uninterrupted production. Furthermore, the $20 billion project is expected to generate 30,000 jobs and save approximately $3 billion annually on fuel imports. In short, this project does more than refine oil. It reshapes the energy future of Africa's most populous country. And that's not all. The complex also includes a fertilizer plant with an annual capacity of 3 million tons, operational for several months already. Dangote emphasized that it will take time for local oil producers to stop relying on foreign refineries, but it is a challenge he is confident in overcoming. "I've fought battles all my life, so I fear nothing," he told CNN. Its impact also extends beyond Nigeria. According to the African Development Bank, this industrial complex can change the face of the continent, accelerating industrialization and strengthening regional integration. In other words, it is not just a refinery, it is a promise of energy autonomy and economic prosperity. While Nigeria secures its energy, Ethiopia is betting on hydroelectric power to illuminate an entire region of the continent. Imagine along the majestic Blue Nile, a colossal construction site, located 500 kilometers northwest of Addis Ababa and 30 kilometers from the Sudanese border. Here rises the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam, set to become Africa's largest dam. With an investment of $5 billion and a reservoir capable of holding 74 billion cubic meters of water, this monumental project aims to double the country's electricity production, provide power to the 60% of Ethiopians who currently lack access, and according to the World Bank, supply energy to an estimated 60 of the 130 million people living without electricity as of January 2025. The dam is also intended to export energy across East Africa. Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed has even stated that the dam will generate $1 billion annually, funds that could finance other major projects and sustainably transform the country's economy. Ultimately, this reinforced concrete giant will make a lasting contribution to the country's energy development, while preventing the emission of over 2 million tons of CO2 per year. Engineers have deployed 10.7 million cubic meters of concrete to construct a main dam 1,800 meters long and 175 meters high, forming a vast reservoir covering 172,500 hectares and holding up to 74 billion cubic meters of water. At its base, 2 impressive hydroelectric plants have been installed. Equipped with 13 Francis turbines, they have a total installed capacity of 5,150 megawatts, with an estimated average annual electricity production of 15,700 gigawatt hours. To complete the structure, engineers integrated a 15,000 cubic meters per second concrete spillway and a 5-kilometer-long, 50-meter-high rock-filled saddle dam with a volume of 15.3 million cubic meters, both located on the left bank. Since February 2022, the dam has been partially operational, with 2 375-megawatt turbines already supplying electricity to the country. With its $5 billion investment, the dam is poised to make Ethiopia Africa's largest hydroelectric exporter. But the project is not merely a technical achievement. It lies at the heart of a major geopolitical crisis. The Blue Nile, one of the Nile's 2 main sources, provides 85% of the water flowing north through Sudan and Egypt to the Mediterranean. Egypt, which relies on the Nile for 95% of its water, considers the dam a vital threat. Egyptian Minister of Water Resources and Irrigation, Hani Swilam, condemned the disastrous effects of Ethiopia's unilateral measures and the immeasurable damage to the social and economic stability of Egypt. Sudan, meanwhile, is divided. It hopes to regulate flooding, but fears shortages and demands a formal legal agreement. The problem? No compromise has been signed. Ethiopia refuses to guarantee a minimum flow, and negotiations collapsed at the end of 2023. For Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed, the project causes no harm. But if you look at the dams in Sudan and Egypt, they haven't even lost a liter of water, and we don't want the dams to cause them any concerns or fears. For now, abundant rainfall has prevented a crisis, but a drought could halt everything. Having tamed the waters to generate electricity, Africa is now building a maritime bridge to connect the Sahel to the Atlantic Ocean. Currently under construction, the new port in the disputed territory of Western Sahara is expected to boost trade across West Africa. In November 2020, during the 45th anniversary of the Green March, His Majesty King Mohammed VI announced high-level strategic guidelines for the southern Atlantic coast of the kingdom. Facing the Moroccan Sahara, this coastline serves as a maritime interface for economic integration and a hub of continental and international influence. In this context, the National Port Strategy has been implemented to modernize and strengthen port infrastructure by 2030. The objective is to position Morocco as the logistics platform of the Mediterranean basin, enhance its role in global supply chains, and seize emerging strategic opportunities. This decision is further supported by the success of the Tanger Med Port Complex, the leading port in the Mediterranean, located about an hour from downtown Tangier. This strategy is based on 6 port hubs: the Oriental Hub, oriented towards Europe, the Mediterranean, and particularly the Maghreb; the Northwest Hub, the gateway to the Strait, with Tangier; the Kenitra Casablanca Hub, encompassing 2 ports, Mohammedia and Casablanca, within the same metropolitan area; the Abda Dukhla Hub, the center of heavy industry, with Jorf and Safi; the Sousse Tensift Hub, featuring the Agadir Port Complex; and the Southern Ports Hub, including 3 ports, Tantan, Layun, and Dakhla. Within this framework, the Dakhla Atlantic Port stands out as a flagship project. Officially launched in 2022 and set for completion in 2028, this mega-project, estimated at $1.2 billion, is located in the municipality of El Argoub, 40 kilometers north of Dakhla, in the part of Western Sahara controlled by Morocco. Morocco's ambition is threefold. First, strengthening its control over Western Sahara by economically integrating the region with the rest of the country. Second, establishing a commercial gateway to West Africa, particularly for the countries of the Alliance of Sahel States, AES, Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger, as well as Chad, which lack direct access to the sea and could thus reduce their dependence on coastal neighbors such as Benin, Côte d'Ivoire, Togo, Ghana, Senegal, and Cameroon. And third, enhancing Morocco's geopolitical influence by transforming Dakhla into a commercial hub connecting Africa to transatlantic markets while reducing its dependence on European trade flows. First and foremost, the Dakhla Atlantic Industrial and Logistics Complex stands out due to its scale and capacity. Spanning 1,650 hectares, it aims to facilitate north-south trade. The port will include several strategic facilities: a commercial basin with an oil terminal, a coastal and deep-sea fishing basin designed to handle a projected 1 million tons of seafood products, as well as a ship repair basin. Additionally, a 200-hectare fishing hub will be dedicated to the processing and enhancement of seafood products. The first phase of the project involves building a port equipped with a 6,700-meter breakwater. It will be divided into 3 main sections: a commercial port with a depth of 16 meters, a fishing port with a depth of 12 meters, and a shipbuilding facility with a lifting capacity of 700 tons. Initial traffic forecasts estimate 2.2 million tons of goods in the early years. The port will be connected to the industrial logistics zone via a 1,300-meter bridge and a 2-lane 7-kilometer road, with an estimated cost of 43.2 million dirhams. It will also be linked to National Road Number 1, which connects Tangier in the north to Guéguérah in the south. This route includes the Tiznit-Dakhla Expressway, designed to widen National Road Number 1 over a stretch of 1,055 kilometers. The port will thus be served by a high-performance road network supporting the development of the fishing industry, which accounts for 65% of Morocco's exploitable national potential. It will also promote the growth of the region's productive sectors. These new infrastructures will allow the Dakhla Atlantic Port to complement those in Laayoune and Nouakchott, contributing to the economic integration and access of Sahelian countries. In this context, the withdrawal of the Alliance of Sahel States, AES, from ECOWAS is reshaping trade flows in West Africa and altering supply routes. On January 29, 2025, Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger officially exited ECOWAS in response to embargoes and restrictions imposed by neighboring countries. These three nations have since formed a new confederation, the Alliance of Sahel States, which currently lacks a shared currency. However, this shift has raised significant supply chain challenges. Faced with these difficulties, the AES countries and Chad, all landlocked and without direct access to the sea, have accepted Morocco's proposal for a maritime partnership to secure access to the Atlantic Ocean. It is also important to note that the AES represents nearly 70 million consumers. This development has had a direct impact on the ports of Dakar, Abidjan, Lomé, Cotonou, and Nouakchott, all of which play a key role in Sahelian trade. For example, 70% of Mali's imports previously passed through Dakar and more than 20% through Abidjan. Since the AES withdrawal, these ports have seen significant traffic declines, minus 17.1% for Dakar and minus 6% for Abidjan. Moreover, the closure of the border between Benin and Niger has increased logistical costs along the new Lomé-Niamey route, making the port of Cotonou less competitive. Conversely, the port of Lomé is benefiting from the situation, capturing 90% of AES trade, including 80% for Burkina Faso, 7% for Niger, and 3% for Mali. As a result, the emergence of Dakhla Atlantic poses a growing threat to these historic ports. If it becomes a viable alternative for Sahelian countries, it could divert a significant portion of the traffic currently handled by Dakar, Abidjan, and Cotonou, ports already weakened by the reconfiguration of trade routes. Consequently, these coastal states will need to adapt their strategies to remain competitive. To support this vision, the construction of the N'Djamena-Dakhla corridor aims to efficiently link the Dakhla Atlantic port to the Sahelian hinterland. The project will consist of a combined road and rail network extending over approximately 5,000 kilometers. It will feature a main 2,200-kilometer segment connecting Dakhla to Bamako via Mauritania, with extensions to Niamey, N'Djamena, and Ouagadougou. If completed, this corridor could significantly boost trade. The estimated investment is $3.08 billion, and the time and cost of exports from Sahelian countries could be reduced by 20% to 30%. Additionally, trade flows between Morocco, Mauritania, Senegal, and the AES could generate between $80 million and $85 million in gains. By 2035, the Dakhla corridor could create over 150,000 jobs, while diversifying markets and reducing dependence on Europe and Asia. Currently, Morocco's exports to the AES total $300 million, whereas the potential trade volume is estimated at $2.23 billion, representing a substantial opportunity for Morocco. While the port opens Africa to the world, the new administrative capital is transforming the way a country is governed. East of Cairo, in the vast expanse of the desert, a futuristic city is taking shape, the new administrative capital. Intended to transform Egypt's landscape, this city is part of a series of mega-projects initiated by President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi, aimed at revitalizing the economy and alleviating congestion in Cairo, whose population density has reached record levels with nearly 20 million inhabitants. The new capital spans 750 square kilometers, 4 times the size of Washington, D.C., at a colossal cost approaching 60 billion euros. The city already impresses with its architecture: Egypt's largest mosque, the largest cathedral in the Middle East, a luxurious marble opera house, a high-end hotel with an artificial beach, and a China-funded business district centered around the future iconic tower, a 385-meter skyscraper currently the tallest in Africa, soon to be surpassed by Tower F at 400 meters in Côte d'Ivoire. The total construction cost of the business district, including the presidential palace, parliament, government buildings, and embassy spaces, amounts to $3.8 billion. Designed to accommodate around 6.5 million people, the new administrative capital will centralize administrative activities with over 30 ministries and 55,000 employees, making it the new administrative heart of the country. By 2023, 14 ministries and government entities had already relocated to the city. However, Egypt's history of new cities shows that building in the desert is always challenging. From the Aswan High Dam to the satellite cities under Hosni Mubarak, each initiative illustrates the desire to conquer space and redistribute the population. This project continues that pharaonic tradition, but with modern stakes. Economic viability depends on private financing and foreign capital, within a context of inflation and currency devaluation. Establishing essential infrastructure, roads, transport, water, and sanitation to support relocation to the periphery remains complex. Without careful planning, these districts could become true ghost cities. Socially, the challenge is twofold. The new capital must relieve Cairo, which suffers from overpopulation, traffic congestion, and pollution. Yet, there is a risk that the city will cater only to the elite due to high real estate prices, exacerbating inequalities and creating a dual-speed urbanization. Environmentally, the challenge is even greater. Built in the heart of the desert, with an extreme climate and limited water resources, 85% of which are allocated to agriculture, the city must ensure a reliable supply despite scarcity. Even with solar power plants, a gas-fired plant, and a desalination facility, sustainable water management remains crucial for political stability and food security. The new administrative capital is an ambitious bet, promising to decongest Cairo, boost the economy, and centralize administration. Yet behind the architectural grandeur lies a test for governance and social equity, a project that could transform the country or deepen existing inequalities. These mega-projects illustrate the profound transformations underway across the African continent. They reflect the ambition of African states to modernize infrastructure, strengthen regional integration, and secure strategic resources. Yet, ambition alone is not enough. The success of these initiatives hinges on sustainable financing, effective governance, regional cooperation, and careful attention to social and environmental consequences. If managed wisely, these undertakings have the potential to not only reshape Africa's economic landscape, but also redefine its role on the global stage, positioning the continent as a hub of innovation, growth, and resilience.